Welcome to the Tits Up podcast with Coley Arnold, the unapologetic space for women in the thick of it. You know, the messy middle where you're too far in to quit, but the finish line feels like a mirage. Where the pressure is high, the stakes are real, and every win feels hard-earned. This isn't a highlight reel. This is the unfiltered truth about building a business, holding your life together, and finding your fire when it would be easier to burn it all down. If you're tired of fake perfection and ready for the real, raw conversations that make you feel seen and lit up, then grab your coffee, your courage, and let's do this. Shoulders back, head high, tits up, girlfriend. Are you building a business that might look good on paper but still feels lonely, messy, or unclear behind the scenes? You don't have to figure it all out alone. The Foundress is a community for female founders who are ready to scale with clarity, connection, and purpose. Whether you're making your first 6 figures or scaling towards 7, we're the place where your ambition is seen, your ideas are sharpened, and your success is celebrated. Inside, you'll find strategy, deep support, and a powerful circle of women who get it. Because at Foundress, we don't just network, we grow together. If you're craving more than just another business group, if you're ready for mentorship, momentum, and women who speak your language, come join us. Your seat at the table is waiting. Head to foundress.co to learn more. Today on the podcast, I am talking with my friend Alex Vailas, and she is a dynamic force in the world of influencer marketing, a beacon of resilience in her personal transformation. Once celebrated as the Pinterest queen and the creative mind behind the renowned blog AVE Styles, Alex's life took an unexpected turn when she faced divorce. This pivotal moment led her to reinvent herself from the ground up. Rising from the challenges of single parenting and rediscovering her identity, Alex not only rebuilt her career, but also inspired others with her story of relentless self-renewal and the unwavering commitment to her own becoming. Now, as the Senior Vice President of Brand Marketing and a seasoned marketing professional, she is committed to sharing her insights and supporting others through their journey of strategic reinvention. Hi, Alex. Thanks for being here. I'm so excited to sit next to you and have this conversation. We have known each other for a very long time. I was trying to think of what year it was. Is that 2015?
When I was in your kitchen doing a photo shoot?
Uh-huh.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I think that was before my kids were born.
Wow.
So that's 2010, 2011.
Crazy.
I think Instagram had just started.
Yeah. It was,
if you want to put a marker.
So wild. So you started as we met, you were in the creative industry, like
I was
creative
a stylist,
agency,
fashion stylist.
And you literally came into my kitchen.
Yeah.
Because you were helping on a shoot that they were using my house for.
Yes.
It wasn't
Melissa
even
was
a shoot with me. Melissa. Yeah. We went back and looked at the picture, I think a couple of years ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so wild.
It got published in Style Me Pretty.
Yeah. It was amazing. It was awesome shoot. But then we just became friends through kind of work, and we had a lot of mutual friends as well. And gosh, a lot has happened in the last 15 years.
I think I've lived like 9 lives.
I know. I am right there with you.
Yeah, you are.
But yeah, so let's dive in. I would love to have you kind of introduce yourself, what you do now, and then we'll kind of go back and talk about kind of the evolution of kind of how we got here.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me, Coley. For anyone that's listening, I'm Alex Vailas, and today I am a head of brand for a golf brand called Bad Birdie. It's an apparel brand for men, women, and kids. And where I started was, like I said, a fashion stylist. And a mommy blogger. I think you would classify that, right?
Yeah.
And I have 2 kids, and I'm a single mom.
Amazing.
But when we met, I was married and I had 0 kids.
Yep.
So big life shifts since then. And in between there, I evolved into what we call today an influencer, which it didn't exist at the time.
Right.
There
was no term for it.
No, there was no term. And I just remember seeing, oh, that's cool. I have 1 million followers on this Pinterest thing. What's that? And then that changed my life because it started me down this path as a content creator. But I really, really loved the business of scaling content for other businesses and teaching people how to use Pinterest for their business. I think that moment taught me that I loved marketing, but I loved telling a story in a strategic way that connected with the consumer. So that took me to a place of pivoting. When I went through a divorce, I went into the agency world and worked in influencer marketing for Kroger and Fox Restaurant Concepts. And then from there, I became a creative director of a Fortune 500 company that was like an internal agency. So I did all of like the Airstream and Jayco Camping World, did all the photo video production. And then from there, I became a senior vice president of brand for a diaper company called Diaper. And now I'm a head of brand for an apparel company.
Amazing. What a wild ride.
Yeah.
If you close your eyes, you ever feel like how the hell did I get here?
Yeah. It's been a lot of mountaintops and a lot of valleys.
Yeah, absolutely. We were just talking before this of like our worlds have collided in so many different ways, and it's been fun. Obviously, we have not stayed super connected in our worlds, but we just picked up right where we left off.
Yeah, we did.
And she sits down. She's like, "Oh, let's cut the bullshit. How are you? What's going on?" But it's been interesting because we obviously when we met, I was in the junk in the trunk world, running a market. My old business had for 13 years with partners, and as we were building that, that's kind of when we kind of really started kind of becoming friends and connecting. And I remember when you had gone through the divorce, you called me and you were like, I need to stage my house. We're selling it. Yeah. And so we had come in and remember that we restaged your home to sell it. And and it's been such a gift to watch you on this journey. Obviously, I wouldn't wish this on anyone, right? Of why we got to this place of closeness, but being able to be a fly on the wall and a person in your life to watch you grow and develop into the woman you are now has been such a gift. But I know it's not easy. And one of the values that I have just as a human, I have it in Founderess, is that we don't all, one thing didn't lead to another. We're not here because of magic, right? No, we go through the shit, and the shit is the part that is the realness that makes us all human. And so those are the things that I like to talk about.
Me too.
I love making people uncomfortable. No. But I think, we obviously everything we go through is a lesson we can learn from. But that doesn't make it easy. And sometimes when we're on the other side of it, it's a little bit easier to say oh, well, I went through this and now I'm here. But what's really hard is to talk through the things that are happening right now and the growth that's happening right now, because we're always transitioning. Yeah. At least I hope so. I remember someone telling me well, that's just the way I am. And I was like, oh, I don't ever want to get there. I never want to be this is the way I am. I always want to be evolving and learning and growing and have curiosity. So those are the conversations I think are so important, especially for women to have, because we can compare ourselves and look at this thing called social media and look at this perfection that we're posting. And even as real as we try to show up, you still read between the lines, right? And you see the beautiful pictures, and even if you're showing the behind the scenes, it's still oh, but look at all these things you get to do and who you are. And we can compare ourselves so easily. So I'd love to kind of talk about, if you're okay with this, is diving in a little bit about that transition, because you went from really kind of owning and having agency over your day, your schedule, being an entrepreneur. And then when you had that divorce transition, you went back to corporate world. Yep. So can you talk a little bit about that and maybe the feelings that were going on inside as you were navigating that transition? Yeah.
I'm happy to. And I like talking about these things too, because since that's where people need help and encouragement. So you can ask away.
I love it.
But I think when I think back to that moment, so for context for everyone, I was probably at the top of my game at that time. So from an influencer perspective, any brand you shop in the store, I probably worked with them. I was in a year-long contract with Home Depot. I think we worked on a project actually for Hay Needle. You were doing a lot of styling at that time. And I had just published my bedroom that got all this press pickup in Elle Decor and like every major website. It was insane. It's the number one most pinned bedroom.
Wow.
And I won a Pinterest award for that. It's crazy. So that's where I was. And I had a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. And
you were known as the Pinterest queen.
I was known as that.
Yeah.
Oh. So cringe.
The cringe is the best part, right? You know you're really doing the shit when it feels cringy later.
Every big wide brimmed hat, I felt like I wore one all the time. Like we can just like everyone I think now probably has a good picture of.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I had been married for 10 years at that time, together 13, and it was that surreal experience of I don't love you anymore, I'm leaving, and the reality of I am now going to be a single mom. So it was very, very abrupt. It came with betrayal. It came with an understanding of, wow, I don't think I even know what's real anymore. So you're dealing with rejection, self-esteem issues, betrayal, managing being a single mom. And so when you think about a life change like that, so much death in that, that you're dying, your identity of how motherhood is done, how you're not a wife anymore. In my business, though, at that time, I was probably on an income level, I was making like $90,000. So back in 2017, that's enough to survive. Yeah. But I didn't have health insurance, and I got diagnosed with 3 autoimmune diseases at that time. I think a lot of women probably now know that stress can cause a lot of issues. Right. And 3 autoimmune issues when you're dealing with like betrayal and all that is not surprising, right? But my reality. So,
well, and I think there was not a ton of research about it at that time either. So I don't know how much knowledge you had in that time of like, oh, this is caused directly from this. It's like all of a sudden this is happening, and then all of a sudden now you have diagnosis, and you're like, what the hell?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think like a lot of entrepreneurs, I'm sure is a conversation around health insurance and where do you get your benefits, and as you get older, and also this question of like, where is this content creator space going, and is there going to be room for me as a content creator when I'm 40, 50 years old with, will I have a 401k? Like, what is truly the trajectory of this as a single person? Right. A lot of successful creators have a partner that allows them to maybe be more, take on more risk. Right. But I had to be really risk adverse. Mm-hmm. So that meant I needed to transition back into corporate world. So as far as like the decision went as that time, like my grounded part of me that recognized this is what I need to feel safe and to feel supported, I knew the answer, and it was to transition into corporate world. Yeah. The creative in me, the true me, I was breaking inside because this was my dream. I wanted to work in fashion, but I didn't want to be a designer. I had become a stylist that transitioned into this influencer. I was helping people. I was a marketer. I got to do so many different things. Mm-hmm. I was so happy and fulfilled in my career. Right. So I was angry that someone's choice, that was not my choice, changed my life. Right. And I don't say that to shame anyone who's making that decision for themselves. Right. But there's also the other side of our choices when, for whatever reason, you're choosing to exit a relationship, that the person on the receiving end of that changes their reality too. Right. And my children's reality. Right. And so I was angry. Yeah. So, I think to sum it up, where I was at that time was scared. I was angry. Mm-hmm. And then I got a job at an agency through a friend, Rachel Bagley, who is a fellow stylist. Yeah. Her husband worked at this agency called August United, or Sightwire at the time, I think, and said, hey, there's a job available for an influencer relationship manager, and it's yours if you want it.
Like,
and
can I manage myself?
I was like, what is this? And it was so humbling. I was 33 years old at that time, and I was working with women who were 23 years old. Just out of college, I was being paid $65,000. And I had to work 9 to 5 and put my children in daycare. My 1-year-old had to go to daycare full time.
Wow.
And my daughter, and all my money was going to that and my mortgage payment. I was house poor. I shopped at Walmart. I went from shopping at Trader Joe's or Target or wherever I wanted to Walmart, to not culling my hair, to not doing my nails, to not paying, like a disconnect in social status, to where I didn't know how to connect with women or friends that I had been friends with.
Right.
And I was also in the suburbs where I had moved to because, well, that's a whole other story, but I'd moved to kind of try to repair my marriage. And unfortunately, it still ended, and now I was isolated. So it was a very hard, lonely time. And I would say bitterness was very much in my heart.
Yeah.
So, and then I felt humiliated.
Yeah.
I had to get on Instagram at a time when people weren't talking about divorce.
Right.
None of my friends were divorced, and say, this is what happened. And I had to let Home Depot know that half of their furniture in my 1-year deal was going to my ex-husband's house.
Wow.
And the deal stopped coming in.
Yeah.
And I couldn't write about another outfit. Nothing mattered.
Right.
And so I just started writing about my pain instead, in a really raw way that authenticity was not a word then either. Right. And I was just putting it out there. I thought, who cares?
Yeah.
This is real. No one talks about this. I know I'm not the only one. And I think that also changed my position in social media and my relationship with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I realized we could really affect people in a positive way by being vulnerable like this.
Yeah. I remember when you did your post about your body.
Yeah.
And it was so powerful. Like, I think it just had the baby, and you were like, I think it was like your stomach, and you were like, put it all out there on the internet. And I remember just having conversations around that with other women. And I've been getting goosebumps. It was such a powerful moment in social media, because I think there was this influencing was kind of on the rise. We were kind of figuring out what the hell this was, but it was all like homes, outfits, everything was put together. Like, there wasn't really in this time, like the real raw stuff that we're thankfully seeing now. That didn't exist. And you were really one of the first ones, at least that I witnessed, really kind of break that mold and go, you know what? Bullshit. Like, I'm calling the shots. This is no longer going to be something that's going to be like the shame cycle. We're going to break these cycles in women. Yeah. And you posted this photo of you, and it was so vulnerable. And the conversation around it was so powerful that I mean, you changed women's lives from that post. And it was so cool too, because I think women can often be, if they're uncomfortable with something, can turn it into this negative cattiness. Yeah. And what I saw in the circle, obviously, of women, but it wasn't even friends. It was like people that had worked with you, people, you know, our community back then was really large. Wow. And it was really diverse in the coolest way. But not everyone was friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was this community of businesses and influencers and bloggers. And it was like, we all knew each other and we were kind to each other, but it wasn't this, like, it's not like we hung out all the time. But it was the coolest thing, because when you kind of broke that cycle and posted it online, everyone just had this almost like the same reaction of like, wow, she can do it. I can do it too. And I saw the ripple effect, and I know you saw it too, but you were in it. So I hope that you can go back and appreciate it, because I'm sure it didn't feel all warm and fuzzy at the moment.
Yeah, it was really scary.
It was terrifying, I'm sure. And I'm sure you did get some negative comments and stuff, because that's just life and the crappy internet. But it was the coolest thing to watch the women react to you and kind of be empowered by that vulnerability that you really, I think you led the pack there. Really, I don't think that was happening.
I don't think I knew that that's what I was doing, but I think that there is this. Yeah, like you said, I think that being in the Pinterest perfect world and styling and being at the forefront of that industry, I knew that I was so unhappy with the expectation. You remember the days at the Pinterest parties where everything was like handmade and perfect, and the reality was like I am, and I still am. That mom that orders pizza
Yep.
and puts
paper
drinks
plates.
out in paper plates. Like,
I think I did.
I don't like parties that are
Yes.
too
My
put together.
first kid had a first birthday that was like ridiculous, and only because friends helped me like put it together. I am not that mom. And then I was like, oh, this is not sustainable. We're gonna go back.
And they don't care.
No, they don't care.
We were like, what am I doing this for?
Yes.
So I think that that's something in my personality, though. It's like I always challenge like, why are we doing it this way?
Yeah.
What's the benefit of it? And is there a better way?
Well, in that blog world too, is that everyone felt like they had to put out this perfect, complete, beautiful picture of whatever it was, whether it was outfits or home, and it wasn't relatable.
No, I actually still think that that's around today.
For sure.
I think we are more vulnerable, but even the vulnerability is curated.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's hard. You know, this is something that we're all pioneering together.
Yeah.
But I do agree that back then, when it happened, what it was giving people permission to maybe not wear the mask all the time and let people in. Yeah. I also, though, did not understand the dangers of being so vulnerable on social media. And I think my heart was for the greater good and still is, but I think now I don't share as much anymore. Not because the internet was mean or anything. Everyone has always been really nice. I think I can confidently say I've maybe had maximum 10 horrible internet experiences in like the 20 plus years we've been on social, which is really cool. But I see it now for my children, being a parent, and they're going to be able to read everything that I've written in a really vulnerable way. I've never spoken about my kids' lives, like their personal lives or anything, but I do realize now that they will be able to read my story and read what I was going through in maybe a more raw way than I would like. Right. And I can't necessarily take that back. So I think that there's learnings there on vulnerability, but yeah, I'm really proud of how I've pioneered a lot of things. I somehow am just always on the forefront of the cliff, like jumping off a cliff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether I want to or not.
We get put in these places sometimes we don't ask for.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're obviously in corporate world. You are head of brand for a brand that's getting very large. They started here in Phoenix. A funny story, they used to actually rent out the vintage Arcadia that we used to own for their meetings. And it was like the small team. I think there was like 10 of them. Yeah. And now they are just like blowing up. And it's been so fun to kind of witness that. But obviously entering into that is just a different animal. You're now leading the pack on that. You're working really closely with owners. And obviously there's some investors and it's growth. And there's a lot to that. So how do you manage that creativity while working in that corporate environment?
Yeah, well, Bad Birdie specifically, it's definitely a company that's scaling. So it's 8 years old. It is actually fully privately owned now. It had a moment on Shark Tank for anyone that's into kind of like that more businessy stuff. Like, how did this startup blow up? Shark Tank.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
And Waste Management, which is like the largest golf event that's open to the public. That's where it kind of like really took off. He wore a couple polos he designed to Waste Management and people wanted to buy them. So it's a really, really cool founder story if anyone wants to look that up. But Bad Birdie was a direct-to-consumer brand, so just buying online via Shopify, and then they started in Scheels, then they went to Dick's Sporting Goods. Now they're in every Dick's Sporting Goods across the country. They're in Nordstrom. They're in Von Maur. They're in like a lot of other places. They're also in a lot of pro shops. So there's another B2B angle, and we just opened our second store in San Diego, so we have our own retail. So coming in January of this year, so I'm 10 months into my role, the brand has grown substantially to where it has, like many businesses, if you're lucky, if you have like that fortunate moment where all of a sudden things explode, you're so tempted to kind of chase a lot of different things, right? And so it chased lifestyle and started making sports bras or bike shorts and started a women's category, but maybe just trying things, but no real sharp, true north to focus on. I think they were riding a wave of excitement. And so with that, you make a lot of decisions that sound really good, but then you can dilute your brand over time because you don't really know then what the company sells and who they're selling to. So they expanded quickly, and now I'm coming in, and what I'm doing is I'm just really tightening and sharpening the brand. So my creativity in the role of head of brand is working with the CEO and founder to focus on what is that, I call it a brand blade. So it's like this one true, like North Star that's true in every area of your business. This isn't a slogan. This is like, stay bad is ours. So what does that mean? Are we staying bad in ops? Are we staying bad in HR? How are we showing up in what we defined as to expect the unexpected in order to push golf forward? And so how are we doing that in every area of the business? And so that's what I'm working on. Then that also means like, of course, looking at the total brand and identity and positioning. And then how does that look in storytelling? If we are the true black sheep of golf, if we are the challenger brand of golf, how is creative truly owning that? Oh, we're not. So this is how we're going to change it we're going to do PDP images on our website in a different way, or we're going to do storytelling in a different way. We're going to own the color black. We're going to codify the brand here, here, and here and send these cues. And so I'm kind of dictating what that is. And I love it. This is my sweet spot. So I think that that's what's really cool. Like anyone that maybe is going through a really bad time in their life that has no idea where they're going to end up in 7 years' time, going from that entry-level corporate job as a 33-year-old, feeling like I was going to have to start all over again. I quickly rose up, and I think my entrepreneurial journey trained me for that, right? Because you wear every hat in your business. And all the relationship skills and networking skills that you learn in your entrepreneurial journey are so transferable in the corporate world. And then getting to work with CEO founders, which every place I've worked with them. I'm like, oh, I know you. You're me. Right. I was you. Right. I get you. Yeah. You're super creative and you're visionary. Right. They're all visionaries.
And oftentimes we suck at business.
Yeah. Right?
It's like the hard part because we don't start a business because we want to be in business. We start a business because we have a passion or something that we can problem solve. And then we have to learn how to run a business.
Right. But your job is to stay out in front. Your job is to think 2 to 3 years down the line of the business. Right. Because you're creative and you see voids in the market and you're like, aha, I have that idea. Well, I realized, and I think I knew this as a creator, but I realized I was never going to be the best influencer or the most creative or the best stylist. I was really good at figuring out if someone had an idea, how to do it. Yeah, so good. So I think I've learned now, not that I would have never, I still own a business on the side to this day, but I think I've learned my sweet spot is helping bring ideas to life. Yeah. They don't need to be mine in order to do that. Mm-hmm. And I also really love developing people. Yeah. And I get to run an in-house creative team and also run a brand marketing team sits under me. Amazing. And along the way, I've managed people and I've learned what it's like to have bad managers. I've learned what it's like to not manage people well. And these are skills that a lot of solopreneurs don't get to learn.
Right.
And then they hire people and they can make a wrong hire quickly, and then that can destroy your business. And so I'm thankful for all the bad, because it's given me these amazing opportunities to learn from incredible CEOs. I've also learned from investors and why they invest, learned how to talk their language, and learned how to change my language to meet different personalities.
Yeah.
These are things I would never have done if I had just stayed in my own comfort zone.
Okay, so you dropped a lot of nuggets that I kind of want to call out real quick, because I think there's probably some people listening right now that are like, whoa, slow down. I want to take notes. Okay, so I want to back up just a little bit to like, if there's someone listening who has their own product and they're like, how the hell do we get this to blow up? Like they're so inspired by this story, but like, how do I do that? Right? How does that person who has the product, who's sitting there, what would be your best advice in terms of brand positioning that they can do? I think I heard you say it, but like pick a lane, right?
Yeah.
But what would your advice be to that person who's listening?
I think the first step in clear brand positioning and carving your spot in the market is the problem solution formula. What is the problem you're trying to solve? So really write that down on paper. And you might be somebody who knows that they're trying to solve the same problem as somebody else, right? So first write that down and then recognize and do your market research of, well, what's happening in the market in the space that I'm trying to solve it in? You might have the answer, nobody's doing what I'm doing. Right. Okay, great. Right. But there's adjacent things. So use those people as your competitive set. Notice what they're doing. Notice how they're doing it. Notice how they're saying it. Notice what they're presenting it at. Sometimes you can take the case study of Southwest Airlines. I love this story so much. I think it's in Jim Collins' book. Southwest Airlines exists today because they just took the playbook of, I forgot what the other one was called. It's like similar to like Southern Airlines or something like that. They copied their playbook. They just did it better. Yeah. So I'm not saying you should go copy a business. It's just they didn't have strong. They did their playbook, but they did it better by making it simple. Yeah. So maybe it's the same solution, but you're just going to make it in a clearer, more digestible and relatable way. And maybe you're going to do it better because you're going to focus on one target audience. Yeah. I think that it's good when you're creating your business plan. One, to start a business by creating a business plan. So people say to just start. Okay, yes, you can just start. But I do think that there's some strategery involved, or I would recommend it. Right. Like, well, what's the total addressable market? What's the value of your total addressable market? What's the TAM? And what's the current economic state on a macro level? Like if you're starting a product, tariffs are probably a big conversation right now, right? Yep. We can't be blind to what's happening. Right. So I would think,
and it doesn't have to be a political conversation, right? It's
no, that's not
let's
political.
Let's just talk about reality. Like this is happening.
Yeah, it's a cost of
how
business.
Do we, right?
You know, it can be a matter. I mean, it's killed businesses this year. Some of them, depending on where they
close.
Depends on where you're getting your products. So. Yeah, I would say first start with a problem solution model, but then it's like, okay, how do you want this business to show up and why? Yeah. It's coming from your heart and soul, and not to make it too woo or anything, but there's truth in it. Yeah. Why do you envision it a certain way? What is that? Bad Birdie, for example. There's so many golf brands out there. Right. What is it that Bad Birdie offers? Oh, Bad Birdie offers playful rebellion in the golf world. It's a feeling. Yeah. It's selling a feeling. Right. It's not just a good product. Right. It's a feeling, and then when it's a feeling, it can become a movement. And therefore the identity and the branding will follow.
Yeah.
But the business idea came from the fact that he was used to this country club vibe, but he was this LA kid, and he didn't really see himself represented in what was available. So he just decided to do his own thing that was really loud and obnoxious.
I love it.
So now there are so many brands copying him.
Right.
And what's continuing to make him stand out, or what makes Bad Birdie stand out, is just doubling down in a clearer, more concise way.
Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head earlier too, of like, it's so enticing as a entrepreneur to go, okay, well, this is selling. Could we make 17 more products and sell those, and we'd make 17 times more money? But oftentimes that's not how it works, right? You do one thing really, really well. And that's so hard, especially for manifesting generators and Enneagram 7s like me that is like, ooh, shiny object.
Oh, yeah.
What else can we do here? But talk a little bit more about that, how you kind of help them like rein it in, because it is really, when you have a scarcity mindset, offering more products seems like a really good idea, because there's, okay, I'll double my audience because we're going to bring in women. I'll do whatever it takes to bring more eyes on this product by offering more products.
Yeah.
And oftentimes that actually happens in reverse.
Yeah, I have a couple different examples of that. I can't take complete credit over all of the Bad Birdie strategy because there's amazing people there for an ops side. But I know that focus on golf polos and doing golf polos well, the business started with a golf polo.
Yeah.
And the business grew with golf polo.
Yeah.
So and our best margins are on golf polos.
Right.
So if you can maybe, as a business owner, it's like, what's the margin that you're aiming for? And what is your core product, and make sure you're always keeping that in the forefront of your messaging and positioning. Yeah. These ancillary products, I think that those need to also hit the margin that you need it to hit.
Right.
If it doesn't, and it's like a passion project for some reason, okay, well, what's the purpose of that? Is it to test something, test the waters in something and use it for more of like maybe potential expansion, but just, but fire bullets, not cannonballs is something that Jim Collins says a lot. It's like, test it, but don't double down on it right away. Yeah. I think there's just smart ways to, I don't want to kill like that entrepreneur inside anyone to say, oh, I shouldn't expand to other products. It's just do it in a way with boundaries of, I always want to keep this margin and never ignore your core product and your core audience. I think that was something where the brand Bad Birdie started to go a little bit in the hype golf space, but they started alienating that good time golfer guy that is like that true millennial audience that just likes to have a beer and drink on the golf course. Right. Because I think they were just wanting to, they genuinely think there's a lot of cool stuff happening in hype golf. Right. But then you start creating products for that, and then the guy that just wants to throw on a polo is like, what the heck is this? Right. This is a weird windbreaker. Right. So then you end up with a product sitting on your shelves. Right. I think for diaper, when I worked there, we had this core product that is this compostable diaper that's just like a basic white diaper. We then created a black diaper that was all charcoal, like charcoal enhanced, and it was also compostable. And then and that did well, and it launched in Target, and it was super cool. And then, Walmart came knocking, and we thought, okay, well, we'll put our core product in Walmart. Well, it didn't sell. Wow. It didn't sell because we took a premium product and we put it in a value store. Right. We forgot who we were selling to. And then, and so we thought, okay, well, we'll change the product then to fit the audience. Okay. Yes, you can do that. But then we kept our brand name on that. Yeah. That was already positioned as premium. Yeah. And then we went value. We confused people that were our core audience and alienated them. And then this new audience we had to build a relationship with. Well, a value audience isn't going to care as much about compostability. They're going to care about price. Right. And so then we decrease the amount of compostable materials to meet the consumer where they were, thinking, oh, well, we'll nurture them up into our premium product.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
A value person is going to stay value.
Right.
And so then what happened is that it fractured the brand and it fractured the messaging, because we had this extremely premium black diaper in Target. We had our core product online. And then also we confused like Walmart customers, that some that did adopt that product was like, wait, where did it go? How can I buy it? And then they were confused because they want to just buy it in Walmart.
Right.
And then the people who were buying it in Walmart, we still couldn't compete with the price of the bargain shopper because Pampers and Huggies had that on lock.
Right.
And it totally killed the business. It was such a big flop. And that's not to say that the people who were running the business weren't smart or people weren't trying to do the best thing for the brand, just like many people listening. They think, oh, well, it's more people to reach.
Right.
No, like there's so many reasons I could add to that, but from just a brand standpoint alone, if you're coming out of the gate at a premium price point, then you're choosing to acquire a premium customer. And the second you offer a value or start discounting, you undermine your positioning.
Wow.
So you really have to think through who are you marketing towards and why. And then if you're choosing premium, then you have to also recognize that a scarcity model is really going to work with a premium shopper.
Right.
If it becomes mass market or you're trying to aim for mass market at a premium price point, you're going to be at odds with yourself and the customer, and then you're going to end up having a lot sitting on the shelves. And so the scarcity model is what does that mean? That means that you can't have too many SKUs, and you can't have too much sitting in reserve.
Right. And
so then becomes a whole like demand planning exercise for people with product, which like that's outside my skill set.
Right.
So I've learned a lot of watching of being part of failures, of being part of success.
Right.
Now that we're really focused on what we're doing, like, man, it's so easy to communicate. No, guys, that's just a no. That's no, and that's a yes. That's a no. You know.
Well, I teach this a lot when I'm working with my one-on-one mentor clients, because even with your life, it's like, how are you planning, right? Like, you let me look at your calendar and I'll tell you what your values are. And if you're not grounded in your values, whether it's your brand, whether it's your personal life, like saying yes to things that are shiny and exciting, but don't line up to your values are so much easier if you're not grounded and rooted in your values. And I think that happens in your brand, that happens in your life. Like, you can say in your life, well, health is really important to me, and be like, great, where's your gym time?
Mm-hmm.
Or where's your meditation time? Where's your self-care time? You know, and if it's not on your calendar, well, then you don't value it. And I think there's so many times in business, we start thinking with our head, and money drives us, or the thought that we could get more money, instead of grounding to our values. And that's what actually is going to be scalable.
That's right.
Right? Is be that simple truth of like, stay bad.
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean? Right. Yeah. And when you run everything through that value, they're easy no's, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, that sounds really fun, but we're not going to do it because it doesn't go with our value.
Right.
And I think that's so powerful when you can get to that place.
It's so powerful. I think it's really hard.
So hard.
It's discipline.
Yeah.
And let's also be honest. Like, I think there are a lot of people who start a business with one thing.
Yeah.
And it transforms into something entirely different.
Mm-hmm.
And then it can be confusing of, wait, should I go back to that? No, it's okay. It's okay sometimes to to change your mind.
Right.
I think it's just accepting the reality that if you do that, you're going to have people fall away.
Yeah.
And there's going to be, your revenue will probably be flat or behind as a result of those changes. Right. And how long can you withstand the change? Yeah. You can always rebuild. Right. Like diapers rebuilding too. They realize, okay, Walmart, that wasn't right. We're pulling out of that. We're regrouping, we're rebranding, and we're going to rebuild with our core audience. great move.
Yeah.
But only a business with cash reserves can do that.
Well, I had to do that at Foundress when I stepped
true.
away, when our partnership kind of dissolved with Foundress and I was on my own. I really kind of looked at this and I made the mistake, I think, of looking at it and going, what do I want this business to look like for 10 years that will make me fulfilled?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of going, what's a really good business model? How can I serve the most amount of people with the most simple system? And I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it of like, I kind of had a panic of like, okay, well, now that I'm doing this myself, what do I want this? How do I want my business to entertain me basically for the next 10 years? Well, our business is not made to entertain us. But in my mind, I was tying myself to this thing and I was actually probably, if we went to therapy, I should probably say that I was putting my value and my worth in my business.
Oh.
And it's like our businesses are not like, we have to separate that. So I went through a year of all last year, 2024. I tried everything and I transitioned. I threw this out. I did this. And it was a bunch of different things. And my audience got super confused. My customers were like, who is Foundress and who do you serve? Because I'm not sure anymore. And I don't regret that because I needed to go through that season for me to really realize like, I am not Foundress and Foundress is not me. And like, yes, Foundress exists because of who I am, but I'm like, I can separate those two things now where I think my identity was so much tied to my business that I couldn't separate it. And so I had to go through that season, but I definitely lost clients. I lost brand like sturdiness because people were like, I don't really know exactly what she does. And so this year has been rebuilding. And again, I don't regret that season for me, but it's like, if you can start in a space where the business is here, you're working on your business, not in your business, it is not your identity, you can really, I think, stay a little bit more grounded in that and not feel like that. Again, I think I was just trying to make my business entertain me, which is the worst thing you can do for your brand. Because if the founder is bored and pivoting like, oh, we should try this, we should try this, we should try this, because you're sick of selling the same thing over and over again, well, then you're again, you miss your clientele, right? You miss your ideal client. And I really did think I know I went through a season of that in Foundress and now rebuilding it. And it's been a beautiful season this year in 2025 because I'm so grounded in the fact of like, I know exactly what Foundress is. I know exactly who it serves. And then I have my personal brand that's going to be doing the podcast, and then it has the mentoring, and I can try different things in there, but Foundress is going to be super steady. And I see this now because I've done that work. It's going to be here for 10, 20 years, whether I'm involved or not, because it's serving one audience and it's serving one thing.
That's so good. Good job.
Thanks. I mean, it was hard as fuck, but
yeah, I bet.
But here I am.
I mean, and I would say every CEO founder I've worked for has that itch.
Yeah.
It's like this itch and this gamification. There's also like just like a fun, I think a lot of CEOs and founders like yourself, like they find it the new fun.
It is fun.
You like to explore.
And we're also told that if you want to be successful, you have to hustle.
Yeah.
And I think when you sell one thing and you have systems in place, and I'm not saying this is easy because it never is easy,
right?
But it flows. And when you are selling one thing and you're doing one thing really, really well, it kind of gets repetitive in a really beautiful way. And sometimes that can be boring.
Yeah.
To a founder that's like, wait, what's next? I'm supposed to be working really hard, and now this is flowing and it's happening and it's growing and it's scaling. And you almost feel like this, like, well, this shouldn't be this easy. Why is this so easy? I'm going to go start something else because...
Or they get the itch and then they start, if they have employees, they start dabbling into marketing because that's their fun area, which
get out of here.
Every single CEO founder has a side passion for brand marketing. I'm like,
oh my gosh,
because they love social media and they love it and they love creative direction. They like to give creative critiques on photography, and it is definitely, I've learned I'm like a CEO, founder, whisperer, as in like, you need to get off the field.
Right.
You need to get off the field. Get off the field.
Get in the press box.
Yeah, go away. Or I can be the safe place. Like, tell me all your feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I'm going to take this. I'm definitely not saying that to the team because I have to be this barrier to the social media person. If they have direct access to the social media person all the time, oh my gosh.
Right. Well,
yeah. Anyone that's listening, your social media manager probably wants to hear less from you.
Right. Totally. It's like cast the vision and then get out of the way. Right.
Yeah. It's really hard though for someone who
it's so hard
likes to play.
Well, and we get inspired.
Yeah.
And so we see something like, oh, that's fucking cool. Let's try that tomorrow. And you're like, whoa.
That's why I love that you have your personal brand. I've told other, the CEO I used to work for, he has 4 other ventures. Wow. Like, that's great.
Yes.
Go work on those.
Right. Be creative with those.
Yeah. Because you've hired people to scale and make you money. Right. So let us cook is what we say. Yep. Let us cook.
Yep.
And you go play over there in the sandbox.
That's awesome.
And then we'll come get you when we need you.
Yeah.
On the fun things that you like vision planning.
Right.
Or I remember on Christmas he would put the Shopify on his TV screen.
Oh my gosh, so fun.
Because he liked watching the sales.
That's awesome.
I don't know. Every CEO has their own quirks.
Yeah.
But
I love it.
Yeah.
So fun. Okay, so I could sit here and talk to you for hours. But I want to talk a little bit about, would you talk about your book?
Oh, yeah.
Can we go there?
The book that's been sitting on my shelf for 2.5 years?
Okay, so let's talk through that because I have had a lot of conversations with women who feel a calling to write a book. They're terrified of it.
Sure.
I know there's a lot of work that goes into it. It's a lot of vulnerability.
Yep.
You really put yourself out there in a more global way than you do even on social media, that you can kind of control the audience a little bit more. So talk through kind of your process of what made you write the book. And then we know it's still on the shelf, or it's still in manuscript form.
I haven't published it.
What's holding you back?
Oh, that's a loaded question. We'll start with your first question.
Perfect.
I wrote my book for me. I think in the Creative Act, I think is that book that it says how when we're creating something, we should always be creating for ourselves. I think I knew I needed to just write a book, and I started writing. Yeah. So for anyone that's listening that feels the calling, it's going to keep calling if it's your calling. So don't feel like the moment's passed you by. But I also think it's important to just start writing. So how I started it was I started just writing blog entries, and some of those made their way to Instagram, which is how I ended up switching my content to sharing my story of transformation, which was really cool. So you can even throw it out there early on. Like, it can be early drafts of something that you're writing, and then you can always put on your Substack or your blog if that's still a thing.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's a thing.
I think people still do it.
Yeah. It definitely is still a thing for ChatGPT and SEO.
Yeah.
But yeah, put it out there, start writing. You can also voice dictate in your phone. So if you're someone that's a perfectionist, like there were times when I wanted to write down an experience, but I was agonizing over the exact execution of that. Yeah. I opened up my voice recorder and I dictated and just shared the story talking like this. So that's a way you can write your book. Yeah. And do it every day. So I would wake up. I was very disciplined. I woke up at 4 in the morning, 4 and 4:30 in the morning, and I wrote. And this is when I had a baby, so they wake up early. So this is my only time. So I woke up, I wrote all the way until 5:30, and then I got my day going. Yeah. So I would say most writers creativity needs time and space. Yeah. So you need to find a time when you can be quiet and avoid turning on the TV or getting up and working out straight away or something like that. Or scrolling. So that's how I wrote it. And it took me 5 years to write it.
Wow.
So I think that Some people I know, like I think we have a mutual friend who's sat down, wrote out her outline and wrote it.
Yes.
That's very in line with her personality.
Yes.
I have another person who wrote a pitch to an agent and a publishing company and got an advance and then waited for that opportunity and then wrote it. I just wrote it because it was cathartic for me to write it.
Right.
Then I had written so much that I had 300 and something pages. I had well beyond what was needed for a memoir. And I knew I needed an editor to help me refine. So I hired an editor and I gave her the whole, I put it all into a giant Word doc and I said, here you go. Yeah. She came back to me 6 months later. It took her a really long time to get through everything and organized it and wrote it. And we had a bunch of calls again at like 5 a.m. She was on the East Coast time and organized it and then came out with first draft of manuscript. By my second draft, I found like 15 people to do a beta test with. They read it, they gave their feedback to me and identified gaps where they were confused, revised it one more time, hired a lawyer to address any fears around libel or defamation because I was worried about, being sued. And she worked on that with me. And now I do have a manuscript and I started pitching it to agents and then I stopped and something didn't feel right. Yeah. So I put the pencil down and I thought, okay, I'm going to listen to this and I'm going to wait. So crazy. In the book, I started dating someone about 2.5, 3 years after I got divorced, and he's in the book. We break up 2.5 years later. That's in the book. Okay. So I've now decided I'm going to wait till the time is right to publish this book. Well, a year ago on my 40th birthday, he reaches back out. And this is someone I love. Like, it wasn't a bad breakup. It was like, I love you so much. This is right person, wrong time. Yeah. But it's too painful to stay connected. So I hadn't spoken to him in 3 years. Wow. And he says, hey, would you like to get dinner with me? I know it's been a long time, but I'd love to catch up. I say yes. We go to dinner. And he basically was like, I would really like to get to know you again. If you're open to that, I get, great. If you're not, great. And I wasn't dating anyone and he wasn't dating anyone. And so I said, okay, let's just be friends. Like, let's see where this goes. And now after a year of dating, we are very much back in love and better versions of ourselves. So that's why I'm thankful I didn't do it yet. Yeah. I'm also, my daughter's 13 and my son is now 10. And I just feel like I want to be able to share my story with them first. Yeah. So that's another part, but I am scared. Yeah. That's a barrier to why I haven't done it. Yeah. Because I'm scared that the older versions of me that are represented in that book, people will assume that's who I am today. Mm-hmm. And I have to be at a place where I'm ready to be misunderstood. And I don't know if I'm quite there yet because that's such a special part and hard part of my life. Yeah. That to be misunderstood in something so painful, right. I don't know if I'm quite there yet. Mm. And I realized that there was a lot of the story that was still being written that I want to go back and I want to add in. And I wasn't completely honest in my book. Mm. I think I was still protecting people. I was still performing for people. And talk about your audience. Like, I think I needed to remember who I'm writing it for. Yeah. Yes, I'm writing it for me, but if I'm going to publish a book, it has to be more than me. Right. And the person I'm writing it for is for the woman who needs hope that even when bad things happen beyond their control, it will be more than okay and really great things can come of it. So It's just not time yet.
I love it. Well, we can't wait until right. You'll have to come back on the podcast.
I will have to come back. I will have to come back. I'm really excited for that day.
That's awesome.
And I really would love for it to be a TV show or a film.
Ooh.
We're not stopping at book, Coley.
Who's going to play you?
Oh, gosh. That's a good question.
Say Julia Roberts or someone.
Oh, yeah. I love her.
Me too.
Yeah.
Maybe obviously younger, but.
Yeah. Maybe we'll give it to Anne Hathaway. She's having a moment right now.
There you go. I see that.
She's doing great.
I can see you as Anne Hathaway. I like this.
I feel like I also need something a little more edgy. Who'd be another one? I don't know.
Emma Stone.
Yeah.
Should be a good one.
She's from Scottsdale, right?
Yeah. I used to teach her dance.
What?
Not funny. It's my claim to fame.
You used to teach Emma Stone dance?
Mm-hmm. Not funny.
That's crazy.
Small world.
Who would play you?
Oh, that's a great question. You know who people tell me I remind them of is Rachel McAdams.
Yeah.
Which I do really like her. I
like her too.
I've heard she's difficult on set.
Really?
But, people say that about women all the time. So who knows what that really means. But
probably a compliment.
Probably. I like it. Okay, so we end every podcast with a tits up moment.
Oh, yeah.
You've obviously shared your story with us, so you have lots of tits up moments. But what is the tits up moment that you're most proud of?
Oh. Coley, that's such a hard question. I am proud of the grace that somehow I've been able to carry through all of the really hard things. And that doesn't mean like grace as in like Grace Kelly and poised and proper. It's just, I feel like I've been able to go through absolute humiliation and devastation and somehow rise up like I feel like royalty. Like it is really like this like queen energy of I feel regal and I feel strong, but I also feel really graceful and powerful. And I'm really proud of myself for how I showed up for life through the past, specifically through the past 7 years, and the badass single mom that I am, and the life that I've been able to create for myself and my children just against all odds.
So good. I love it so much.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us. Thanks for your vulnerability. I know talking like this publicly can be hard, but you are not one to shy away from the realness. So we appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Yes, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If this spoke to you, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a conversation. You've got this. Stay clear, stay grounded, and stay true to what you're building. Until next time, tits up.